Okay, we're wrong code at exactly 8:30. Are we ready? How's everybody doing? Let a couple of people roll in here. Um, while while we wait, I will just riff a little bit on some of the changes that we've seen in the last couple hours. For instance, there being 2 night SummerSlams, and how that may lead to 2 night Royal Rumbles, how that might lead to a 2 night Survivor Series. Oh my goodness. We may see look, 2 night Royal Rumbles make sense. I don't want two Rumbles on the same night. So if it's going to be another show that's going to be 2 days, I would pick the Royal Rumble. And I would say the Royal Rumble needs to be 2 nights. One day the men's rumble, the next day the women's rumble, or the other way around, however you want to cook it. But I'm extremely interested in how they're going to continue doing this 2 night SummerSlam. Ugh, that's going to be a tough one. I don't know if SummerSlam is an event that needs 2 nights. Um, I think the gimmick shows probably need to be 2 nights. To split up those gimmicks. Maybe the Money in the Bank needs to be 2 nights. Maybe War Games needs to be 2 nights. Maybe the Rumble needs to be 2 nights. That way, at least the matches will stand out a little bit more, as opposed to everything being on one night. But the idea of a 2 night um, SummerSlam, that's pretty brutal, brother. I don't know. That's a brutal one. Um, did I hear it? I googled to see what occurred, and I didn't see anything. So I don't know how true it is that Nick Rekieta got arrested, unless it hasn't hit the wire yet. But I would imagine it would have by now. Um, in any event, uh, I guess I guess we'll see when it finally happens, when it finally comes out. We'll see if he got himself into some trouble. All I know is Buddy, he's been drinking very heavily. It's probably not a good idea. So I saw when people was talking about it on Discord. It's just that when I googled it, I didn't see the story. So I wanted to read the story on Google to see like what the details were of the situation. I didn't see anything. So if it happened, I'll check it out. But he's in a bad state of affairs. 'Cause his I saw him online. Somebody posted a recent video of him just looking dazed and confused, and I was I was disturbed by it. If we're being honest, he looked like something I would have seen at my place of employment in a mental hospital. It just with the shakes and the heavy bags and a lot of the involuntary movements and the dozing off. It just all looked very scary, and I wish him well. It just didn't look good. All right, we're gonna start King of the Ring in about 5 minutes. So about 8:40, we're gonna start the show. But um, they also announced that the winner of the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, will face the champion, I guess, of their choice at SummerSlam, which gives the tournament stakes, which doesn't really change my perspective on who's going to win. But the question is going to be uh, a sensible question, I think, is now that you're going to make it a number one contenders thing, you really got to be careful about who you have win. Um, so that it actually does make me feel like Lyra Valkyria will win now, and it will be Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at SummerSlam to continue, well, to spark the story that they've been telling on NXT, that they've been showing on television. So that's what it seems like to me, anyway. That men's side is going to be a weird thing, though, because how do you? I wouldn't use that to get Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes into each other, and I wouldn't spin that. I would let that be a storyline. I wouldn't, just book it like that. I would probably go with Gunther versus whoever the world champion is. So I would imagine that's going to be. Um, I would imagine that's still going to be Damian Priest, right? At least I would think so. Top dog, what up, brother? The day is all right, and I actually can't complain too much. It's hot, and I had to turn my air conditioner off to do this video, so I'm not thrilled about that. I almost canceled it for that reason. If it was like 2 days ago, like it was brutal 2 days ago, I probably would have just said, man, it's too hot to turn the air conditioner off. But I think I can turn it off for 2.5 hours for you guys, man. I mean, it's no big deal. AJ3, how you doing? Glad to see people rolling in. I said in about another 3 minutes or so, we're going to start the show. So everybody should have King of the Ring 1993 booted up. This is the 31st anniversary of this show, thereabouts. I don't know what day the show aired. Maybe I should have looked. But technically, it's the 30th anniversary of this show, thereabouts. So it ought to be a really fun show. I don't remember much about it except for this is the official end of Hulkamania in the WWF for the time being. I didn't know. Young Mongo didn't know that at the time, though. He had no idea at the time. So it's a tough one. Special J, how you doing, brother? So I wanted to watch King of the Ring 97 and the watch along, but then I just watched it on my own because I was bored, and I was like, oh boy, what a weird show that was. And I was very jacked by the Sid Legion of Doom team. Boy, I was standing up like, yeah. I was excited. There should be a show of Bret Hart complaining about young people. Yeah, it should. I would watch him review an episode of NXT. I really would. I would be very interested in watching Bret Hart review one episode of NXT. I think he'll say everything he needs to say in that one episode, which is that everybody sucks, everything sucks. You could probably learn more at the Stampede Academy or whatever the hell he's running. He probably put over Natalia, and then that's it. It'd just be about how everybody's terrible and all this kind of stuff, even though they don't really hurt each other, which was his big thing is, how so many people was getting hurt. His whole thing is they barely make any contact in NXT. You can see through everything for the most part in NXT. And that's what made Dragunov stand out so much is that his shit was very snug in NXT where everybody's working super light. He bounced around a lot while everybody else seemed to be taking it a little bit easy because it's not the main roster, But not not him. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit play now. All right, Jay Gentile, she is fine. And she was wearing that gray bodysuit, man. I wasn't paying no attention at the time, but I was like, oh, Jesus. It's Vince McMahon. It's an extravaganza. WWF champion Hitman Bret Hart. Oh. Square off against his old nemesis, Ruthless Razor Ramon. I'm interested. That's Mr. Perfect. Mr. Hughes gets no respect in these wrestling world. Oh shit, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's still around? The undefeated Native American Tatanka grapples with the narcissist Lex Luger. We didn't even talk about the rest of the card. What else is on this shit? AJ3. I wonder, does he teach anyone how to cut promos and to be characters? Probably not. Oh, look at Randy Savage turning his back to the camera. I know Vince is pissed about that. I like Jade Gentile. She seems to have something going on, man. She's a beautiful girl. She's very athletic. She's got something. Oh, crush! Oh, let's go. Razor Ramon. This guy turned babyface the next month. Well, I actually think he turned babyface right after this, because his babyface run began with him feuding with Ted DiBiase, and that was at SummerSlam '93 when he had Ted DiBiase's final match. So I think that the big 1, 2, 3 kid thing hadn't happened yet. Oh, yes, it did. It happened already. Okay, so they're talking about it on this show. So they already began what's going to end up becoming his babyface run. That's weird. It sucks that Triple H isn't pushing young people like Trick Williams in the main roster. I get it, but he could at least give him a chance, for God's sake. What the hell? I mean, if you're not going to push him, leave him in NXT. NXT could use him. Macho Man was better as a color commentator than Jerry King Lawler. Oh my God. Yeah, unfortunately, he just didn't want to do it. He thought he wanted to keep wrestling, and Vince was like, no. Because he wanted to go with the new generation era. He wanted to get away from all of those guys from the 80s. And once Hulk was gone, he didn't see much use for anybody else. So that's sad. Bully Ray have so much CTE that he realized this week that Io was pretty. Took him 6 years of seeing her every week to realize that. Oh God, he got a brain rot. I think his head is so big it takes a long time for his thoughts to materialize. He probably came to that conclusion 6 years ago upon seeing her for the first time, but the size of his bulbous fucking head, it was just kind of like bouncing around in there, and then it was like, woo, 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 and it finally came and hit a point where he's like, oh, she is pretty. Come on. Io is hot. She's always been hot. That speaks for itself. Do I consider myself an 80s kid? I was born in 1984, so technically no. I don't really remember too many shows from the 80s. I remember most of the shows from the late 80s, like Who's the Boss, which used to come on television, like Three's Company. I remember stuff like that when I was a kid. A lot of MASH, too much MASH. But like a lot of the cartoons that came out in the 80s, I caught them in reruns. Like Thundercats and He-Man. I wasn't old enough to really be able to enjoy that stuff. I caught it mostly on reruns. Bully talked about Natalia being with the company 20 years and has done nothing significant that people care. You know what? I don't even deny that one. That one is real. That one's real. Natalia hasn't done shit. She's gonna have the winningest record and all this stuff, and nobody's gonna remember any time she won the title. Nobody's gonna remember any storyline that she was involved with, unless it's gonna be like the NXT thing when Brett was there with her, or the silly gimmicks that she was given, like the fart gimmick or whatever that she's supposed to be. The crazy thing is, people talk about the fart gimmick. I don't even remember that. I don't remember farting gimmicks at all. But she won a bunch of titles and did a bunch of stuff, and nobody cares at one iota about anything that she did. Scott Hall was in his mid-30s in this match. I think he was like 35 or something. Him and Brett was like, neck and neck in age. It's crazy. Somebody did like one of those time loop things for Scott Hall. They did them for like actors and stuff. And I didn't realize that he was like in his mid-30s when he started his run in WWE. Vince was trying to give Natalya personality when she really, really. I think he was just making fun of her because she has no personality. For God's sake. Ooh, that was a hell of a close. Ooh wee. Oh. I missed the old arm drag takeover into this little arm lock here. You don't see it that much. Yeah, he was in his 40s when the NWO thing happened. He was he was in his late 30s. I think he was like well, I think he might have been a little bit younger than Brett. 'Cause Brett was 35 when he won the title the first time. That was in '92. So they're about the same age. So yeah, he's in his 40s. You know, when NWO really blew up in like '98, he was probably just turning 40, or probably 38 or something like that. But he's a lot older than I thought he was, for God's sake. Which it's just it shows how well he took care of himself, despite the fact that he was on drugs and alcohol. That he still looked huge and still looked solid in like the late '90s, despite the fact that he was like 40. Look at how many young women is in the crowd in this show. Just look at the crowd a little bit. One thing about it, all white people. Because Dayton, Ohio, they're probably all cousins. But then you look at it, it's like a lot of women. That's because Hogan slimmed down a little bit. He slimmed down some, and so he looked a little bit younger than he was like a couple of years before then. And I think also, with the goatee and everything. Aha! Mm-hmm. I don't remember the qualifiers and anything like that in this joint. When I was a kid, like the qualifiers were like 90% of superstars, like King of the Ring, like random mid carders getting beat by top guys that ended up not making it into the tournament. Like, oh, we're gonna put Undertaker in the King of the Ring. Oh, really? He didn't go anywhere. He just got it out of there. We put him in it because we had to put somebody in it, and then we took him out of it immediately. We did the same thing with Shawn Michaels. I think John Cena didn't start looking old until he left, though. Like he didn't look old until he started making the returns. Then he started looking old. And I was like, whoa, that was weird. He wasn't even gone that long. He was gone like a year or two. And then he came back and he was like, oh man, with a bald spot and everything. I was like, wait a second. Speaking of Ohio, did you hear that Johnny Gargano was hoping to win the titles in his hometown of Cleveland in that giant stadium for a huge reaction? What is he going to do? Pay for it? He's going to pay for the reaction because there's no other way he's going to get it. He's going to have to dump money from the sky like the Joker. Who do you trust? It's just no way. Nobody cares about Johnny Gargano. Why don't he get that through his thick skull? His little foot self. That referee with his mullet, he's kicking my ass. But I do prefer the referees to look a little bit more official, like the solid blue shirt. I actually like that. It's different. Now they all look like umpires, Everybody's wearing the stripes. I wonder what the idea behind that change was. Because I do remember the referees wearing like solid colors for a long time. Oh, a running power slam? What is Hall doing here? Speaking of Cena, he should go out. I heard rumors that he's going to retire at WrestleMania 41? Uh, hmm. I say he should either have his last match with Randy Orton in an end of an era kind of situation, or have his last match with Edge. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get the Edge match. So maybe Randy Orton. One more run with Randy. I think to finish off that new generation era. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they would bring Brock back to have another one, but I would have Cena come back, probably beat Solo Sikoa because he beat him, and then go into one more run. I think, and I truly believe that Cody Rhodes is not going to let John Cena retire without getting the match out of him. So maybe that's the idea. Maybe you do Cody and Cena at WrestleMania on one night, and you Rock and Roman on the other night, and it's the last match for both Cena and Rock. But I don't know. That sounds like a good idea to me. I think Cody is going to badger John Cena into giving him a match. And then he's going to badger Triple H into giving him a match with John Cena. Not like Cody needs it, but I wouldn't let Cena go out at 41. If you're going to do Cena and Cody, I would go ahead and do it at 41. And then Cena retires at 42 versus Randy. But I definitely think his last match needs to be against Randy Orton. And I don't think Randy got 3 more years in him. So it'll probably end up being the last match for both of them. I always loved that elbow drop from Brett. They working hard for this to be a tournament match, and they got, multiple matches in one night. This match already got some length to it. Even though it's only been about 10 minutes. Longer than any match in the Attitude Era so far. Good old-fashioned Bulldog. I don't see that much anymore. I don't think Cena is really. If Cena got any kind of stroke, he would stay away from the Littlefoot. I think Cody is a guy who's got his respect. I think that is a kind of a guy that he wouldn't mind working with. But one of these Littlefoot dudes, I don't see the point in that. I always loved the Razor's Edge as a finish. What's happening, Brett? Oh, that was nice. Wait, it's a fast count. Oh, I thought he had him too. I was about to say, what the hell? That was a fast count. That was a great near fall. That was a hell of a near fall. They even got me. I bid on that. Yeah, this certainly feels like, this should have been the finals. Like, this was weird to be in the opening round. Oh, what a counter. Oh, wow. Good finish. Good finish. I like that finish. Brett did a really good job of not, like, shitting all over his opponents. Like, that was a good win. It was clean. But Brett's not up before Hall is. Hall is, selling the loss and everything. Great job. Fabulous match between these two guys. And Brett's, he's blown up, boy. He's well, he ain't blown up, but he's clearly he's struggling out there. He's showing that he had a tough match. So you need to stay away from all the little foots. Stay away from these guys, man. These guys suck. I think Triple H is gonna wake up one day and damn near everybody that Vince loves is gonna be like, you know what, I'm done. Brock, Cena, Randy, and it's gonna be like, you know what? No more, no mas. Roman. It won't be long before they start saying that Vince is going to talk guys into going back. I can tell you that. Oh Lord, Mr. Hughes is like a video game character. Man, look at this dude. Definitely one of those rando heels that Undertaker used to feud with all the time. I never was a big fan of Harvey Whippleman, that's for sure. I hated that fucking guy. All these arenas look the same. That's weird. You wearing suspenders, my God. Sit up, brother. Somebody need to steal the Mr. Hughes glasses mask. Like that's a really cool gimmick. Like the glasses that go all the way around the head so they never come off. That would be like a real cool gimmick for somebody. Somebody need to steal that. If I was in NXT, I would just go back and steal gimmicks from people that nobody paid attention to, like Mr. Hughes. I absolutely would steal Mr. Hughes gimmick. I wouldn't wear no fucking suspenders, but I definitely would start try to find them wraparound glasses and take the elements of that character. Hey, babyface Mr. Perfect. This is rare. This didn't last long either, but you know, it was okay. It happened. I think it's Summer Survivor Series '92. So we're about 8 months into this thing. He also fell apart right around the time where it would made more sense for him to be a main event guy. Unfortunate. I wish Rick Rude had stayed around. He certainly would have been a world champion by this time. Brett's such a professional. You see all these Littlefoot indie guys love him more than Shawn Michaels, but Brett was a star or a great wrestler. What's the difference? I think they just like Brett's, technique. And they've been taught for years and years that Shawn was like a bad person. And Brett has always been sort of a wrestler's wrestler kind of guy, I guess you could say. Top Dog said, I've seen some people on the Discord say the attitude that ruins people's expectation on pro wrestling is supposed to be. Would you agree? I do. I think some of the stuff that the Attitude Era did really blew up the conception of what wrestling is. Like I say all the time that the wrestling element is the least important element, but there is importance to it. You know, like you can't have a 2 minute match. Like it has to be. The match has to have an ebb and flow. The people have to care about it. You can't just throw people out there 30 seconds later the match is over because nobody cares about matches. It's like you have to find a happy medium where the match matters, but the people are over and the match doesn't go too long. So like the indies is always wrong because every match is 15 minutes. Like that's always wrong. But every match been under 5 minutes is always wrong too. You know? So I think part of what happened with the Attitude Era is they decided that they were gonna tons of disqualifications, just hell of disqualifications. That was already a problem. Too much chaos and not enough order because you can't have a good story without parameters. You need rules. You got to have people you got to have somebody to enforce the rules. Then you got to have somebody break them. That's the element of storytelling that you got there. You got to have a hero and a villain. So part of the Attitude Era was the baby faces started breaking the rules, and the heels was breaking the rules. And then we had to start getting ridiculous, like the heel is a date raper, or something, trying to chop his dick off, or he killing and eating dogs, or whatever the ridiculous shit. But some of the other things that I think that element ruined a lot because now people expect mid card guys to be setting each other on fire and involved in hardcore matches that fight all around the arena. When in reality, I'm like, man, come on. We could have used a lot less of Al Snow and Hardcore Holly and those guys than we actually got at that time. You know? Ooh, that was a hell of a boot. That was a hell of a boot. The Attitude Era also made wrestling fans think that you need a weapon in every main event. Yeah, or you need to break a table all the time, you know, like or you need to have some kind of weird gimmick. Now, I'm all for weird gimmicks. If the feud is going on long enough, you need to have a weird gimmick. But I think that the amount of ladder matches that they had was kind of was a bit much. A little too heavy on the ladder match. A little heavy on the last man standing and the Hell in the Cells. And I think it set an incredible standard for the Hell in the Cell match that nobody can top. I mean, guy got thrown off the top of that joint. There's just no way you can beat that. You know, there's nothing you can do that's going to be able to get around a guy getting thrown off the top of the cell, you know. Yeah, why is he wearing a tie, by the way? He's dressed like a giant referee. Vince Russo talk about 50-50 booking has ruined fans' illusion about wrestling. How wrestlers today make fans believe clean finishes and fake fighting matters. I think you have to use everything in moderation. I think most matches should end clean. That's just my opinion. You know, because then things look interesting when the bad guy cheats. You know, so most matches should end clean, but I think most matches should also be like, you know, the Bret Hart match we just watched, where guys don't win with their finish. Guy wins with a small package, good technical stuff, depending on his character. Like Brock Lesnar is not going to beat anybody with a small package. So, you know, the idea that you would book Brock to beat somebody with a small package is just stupid. But any other, like some of these Littlefoot guys, they shouldn't be out there just beating people like with their finish. They're just stomping them. Like, get the fuck out of here. What's happening here? They're falling all over each other. What's happening? I need some pants like Mr. Hughes pants. Mr. Hughes pants is like it has so much breathing room that he can wrestle in them. I could barely work in my fucking pants. How to fit. I hate them pants. I hate wearing pants like that, casual pants. I say the Attitude Era definitely made people think wrestling as some low-class redneck Jerry Springer thing. Well, it's always had that. But I think that it went a little overboard with some of the storylines. Like you definitely need to have an entertainment element to it. But not everything needs to be sleazy, you know? I think that the recent way of doing things where some characters are like characters, like the Fiend or Tony Storm, and they're kind of gimmicky and over the top, that's good stuff. And then you have, you know, good technical wrestlers that are sports kind of based wrestlers. So you have like your Gunters, you know, your Cesaros, you know, those kind of guys. Those guys are good. And you basically take all these different people, all these different personalities, all these different styles, and you find different ways of making them work. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, he just dotted him with that. Wait, why is he not knocked out, brother? He just got hit with that thing. He just rolled out of the ring. Oh Lord. Or Gunther having more than one finisher. The thing is, technically, I don't think he even has a finisher. I think he just wins with stuff. The problem with that is you can't build up to the finish. You know, like he does a good job building to the finish, but I think with Jay, the finish came flat because nobody knew that was going to be the end of the match, and nobody was looking forward to that being the end of the match. You know, like a finisher has its own psychology to it, where when people see it, they expect the match to be over. Then when you do, so you could tease it, you could play with it. when you just beat people with random shit, you know, sometimes they'll pop if it's clever or if it's interesting, but other times they'll just be confused. Like that's it, you know. Darren Miles eat Sandman or Sabu pants. I wouldn't leave the house in them, but I'll probably wear them. Sure. The Zubais, I think you can order Zubais on Amazon.
You cheated. Stole the belt for my Yokozuna.
You stole the belt from my Yokozuna.
If you look across the ring, you'll see a different Yokozuna, a bigger Yokozuna, a wiser Yokozuna. You're not a Yokozuna. Understand it?
Hogan, American hero. You and America will go down.
I remember when Yokozuna cut a promo in 1996. Everybody popped because they thought that was the first time he had ever talked. It was at February 1996, I think it was. No, yeah, it was February 96. He had the beard and everything, and he cut a promo. And everybody was like, what? Yokozuna talking? Like, he never talks. So every time I see Yokozuna talking before 96, I started being like, oh my God. I remember being a kid, like, he never talks. Like, all he says is bonsai. So then we started using like full sentences. You're like, what in the hell is happening here? Oh, here comes Jay Uso of 1993, apparently. The Attitude Era exposed the fad fan. And that's really what it was. It was a lot of fair weather fans, people who was watching it because it was chaotic and it was a thing to do, not because they actually enjoyed it. And then the booking actually fit in a way. It's like you can only ride the wave for so long, you know. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like when Apple or somebody, Spotify or somebody, they was doing their top 100 albums, right? And I was thinking, like, you know, when I was a kid, there were certain acts that everything that they made seemed to be like a huge hit, and nobody talks about them today. Spice Girls, Hanson, like they're never on like top 100 albums. It's never Hanson, never Spice Girls. It's never like NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys. It's never none of that stuff. That stuff is only for the time, you know? And when it's over, it's over. Like you never hear anything about these people anymore. It's like you don't hear them doing like big reunion tours or anything like that. Now, again, a lot of this stuff is, well, Mongo, you're a 40-year-old black man. Why would you know anything about, you know, NSYNC tours? But when I was 20, those dudes were everywhere, you know? Even black girls liked NSYNC. But now nobody even talks about these guys. They never make any list of anything. And I just be like, that was crazy because it was of its time. And you got to realize that some things are just popular for a moment. And they get popular really fast and make a lot of money, then they're gone. And wrestling can be like that. But why would you want it to be? You know, wrestling can't be the Attitude Era for 30 years. You know, that doesn't work. It was never going to work. It was never going to be that way. It was always going to end. Just like the rock and wrestling era had to end. It's all got to end at some point. The popularity of everything peaks at some point. You know, the popularity of The Simpsons peaked. The popularity of most sports leagues at some, like baseball was a league that peaked at one point. And baseball is not nearly as popular today as it used to be. You know, baseball used to dominate people's lives. Now it's a sport that they still love, but it doesn't dominate people's lives anymore. You know? Oh, Duggan is wearing a singlet, brother. I just not noticed that. Look how Duggan punches, bro. This is Bam Bam. I wish they'd have took Bam Bam seriously, man. I don't know. I don't know what Vince had against Bam Bam Bigelow that he didn't want to make him in the main event. Even though he didn't make it main event in WrestleMania, he could have been like a decent world champion contender. I wonder why Vince didn't want to go with him. This is one of the many 100 questions I would ask Vince McMahon. What was up with you and Bam Bam Bigelow? When you were in need of a big guy to push, why didn't you go with Bam Bam? He has such a unique look, unique name. You know, why not? I'm pretty sure there's a non-answer in there somewhere, a grumble or something. Naked median, choppy, your PP beaver cleavage. Yeah, that shit wasn't gonna last forever. Even no matter how you're not gonna be 17 forever, man. And it's just literally that simple. I've come to grips with the fact that wrestling is never going to be as popular as it was in '98, and I wish other people would accept that too. You know, it's never going to happen again. That doesn't mean that it can't still be popular, you know, but it just can't. It's not going to be 1998 ever again. And one of the reasons why it was so popular is because nobody had ever done that kind of stuff before. So if you try to go back to doing it, people are just going to say, "Oh, well, you're trying to do Attitude Era stuff again." That's exactly what happened with AEW show last night. They were doing flamethrowers and bloodbaths and girls kissing, and people was like, "Oh, I thought you guys wanted the Attitude Era back." It's like, this is AEW. What are you talking about? It's 2024, bro. There's nothing AEW can do that's going to be Attitude Era. They're just going to take bits and pieces from them. The Attitude Era. Trying to distance them from Saturday morning cartoon aspects that people seen before then. Yeah, that's absolutely. That was absolutely what it was. Hell, Vince even came out and said so much. The cure for the common show. Yeah. Sometimes people get so popular, you think their popularity would never end. And then you very quickly find out that it's not true. Mm. That wasn't bad. What's up with Big Lo's head, though? He got a crease in it. Boo. Look at those WWF hats. I'm sure some nerd got one and it was in his garage or something. I wish he did like a splash or a moonsault or something. That headbutt's kind of weak. Every time I see Terry Taylor now, I just think of we got enough of y'all boys. Oh, that reading that lawsuit fucked me up.
Pressure's on your first King of the Ring tournament. How do you feel? That's true, Mr. Taylor. The pressure is on because this could be like a mini battle royal. You're talking 8 guys in the ring at the same time. Could happen. But I can't think of anybody I'd rather have on my team than my brother Bart and the Steiner brothers. That's a good point.
Oh my God.
That revolver, your finishing maneuver, you think that'll be
I love the Sidewinder. Why nobody took it yet?
They'll beat anybody in the World Wrestling Federation.
Scotty Steiner, you guys have been chasing Money Incorporated for quite a while now. Do you think the Frankensteiner will be the key to victory?
Well, you know, Terry Taylor, nobody's gotten up with the Frankensteiner. If I hit any of those 4 guys with Frankensteiner tonight, we'll win the match.
That's a good point, too. Well, Dogface?
Yeah, you know, come down to the dog park because we're going to be a bunch of great dogs in the ring.
Right in here in the locker room, everybody. They're excited. Let's go into the ring.
Oh, my God. Ugh. What are we doing here? Oh, okay. That was bad. I hate the smoking guns. Well, I hated the smoking guns as a kid. I hated the smoking guns. My God, what a terrible gimmick. Cowboys are supposed to be cool. Justin Bieber was a megastar with kids and teenage girls when I was growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but he's irrelevant now. Yeah. And that's the thing about pop music. And I realized that pop culture is only supposed to last for a short amount of time. And then it's not popular anymore. It becomes a niche product for the people who loved it a little too much. So Ninja Turtles, had its time in the sun. It's never going to have that time again. Power Rangers, It's never going to be that time again for Power Rangers. You know, if you're lucky and you become like Dragon Ball or the WWF, where people that even continue to be fans in large numbers, even when the franchise seems moribund. And what I mean by that is the best days of it are well behind it, but when there's glimpses of brilliance there, people still jump back on, and that's what like this most recent WrestleMania period was about. It's like most people are still not wrestling fans, but they become engaged at certain times. You can still get people interested in the product, you know, for a short amount of time. You know, like some people get really excited, you know, when they hear, oh, they're gonna reboot, you know, franchise X or whatever. That really wakes up the fandom, and the fandom gets involved and get excited. X-Men '97 is a perfect one right now. A lot of people don't care about the X-Men anymore, but they get back involved when there's popular X-Men product out there, and then they're gonna fade away again because that's what happens. You know? When is the Steiner Brothers documentary? I don't have no idea. You probably have to look on PWN, so they might have it or something like that. I know they just did Austin's last match on Sunday. I don't know who's next. Do I believe that WWE had ended the PG era? Well, is it not PG anymore? Because it still is. They're making them wear the elbow pad. I like that. I like that Vince decided to utilize it because I don't think anybody else ever did. The metal plate in his arm. I don't think it was ever mentioned in WCW TV. But then again, I don't remember a lot of WCW TV. Maybe it was mentioned, but it wasn't. It didn't never became like a major part of his character. It is 38 minutes, 24 seconds. It's in his forearm, by the way. It's not in his elbow. So I don't want to make him wear an elbow pad. They fighting with the mirror in the ring, man. It's hard times. Get this thing out of the ring. Oh no! It's 39 minutes. WG Phil. Attitude Era also exposed a lot of copycat feds. Yeah, and it incentivized WWE to be a copycat fed from stealing from ECW and stuff. Oh, Luger can't even get over the top rope. Come on, bro. Vince used to love him some Tatanka, boy. I don't know what he was thinking pushing Tatanka so much, but him and Savio Vega were like mainstays when I was a kid. AJ3 said he really feel bad for Luger's run in WWE. They hotshot him too quickly at the babyface. They should have left him as a narcissist. Yeah, I think they moved a little quickly. He was barely over as a narcissist before they decided to turn him babyface. Because he came in at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 9. He made his debut. They tried to make him a main event guy by SummerSlam. It's like, what the hell were you thinking? But that's what I mean by, Vince is not in any way coy about what he wants to do. He wanted Luger to be a top star. He brought Luger in with the purpose of being a top star. And he was going to push Luger. He was going to make... I'm surprised Luger didn't win this damn tournament. I think if Luger would have won this tournament, it probably would have helped a lot. Top Dog is anti-heroes taking over wrestling in the late 90s, having a bad effect on wrestling. Now every fan thinks everyone should be cool heels and heel like baby faces. I agree with that. That's a good summation of events. Being a good guy became you being lame, and then they started really doing lame shit. I think Bayley really ruined it for herself when she did the old I'm not going to hit you with this kendo stick, and then she lost. It's like, okay, she can do that, but she has to win. You know, like the babyface could, create these rules for themselves where they're going to play fair, but the point is they should play fair and win, not play fair and lose, because then they look like dorks. You know. But back to Luger, yeah, Luger. Them trying to make Luger the main event guy at WrestleMania, SummerSlam '93 was just not good. It was bad juju, bad juju. He was barely over as a heel. Then he got over more than I thought he would as a babyface, but that's because they plastered the flag all over him. He basically became Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and then he lost. So well, he didn't lose. He won, but then he didn't win the belt. He didn't win the belt. It should have took some time, man. It took a little bit more time. I think if Luger had turned babyface in the summer and they decided to, maybe have him win the Rumble, that would have been dope. And he could have won the title at WrestleMania. Everything would have been great. But the super push, the rocket, not even the rocket. They put like a B-52 bomber behind this guy. Like they tried to make this thing happen overnight. It seemed like it wasn't going to work that way. Luger didn't have that kind of connection with the audience. And then Luger was there longer than people think too. They think that Luger was there from like 90, like 93, 94. Like he was there for like 3 full years. Yeah, Luger won nothing. He came to the WWF and won nothing. He probably should have won the Intercontinental title and held it for a little while. That probably would have been a nice little run for him. He would have had to take it from Shawn, which probably wouldn't have made Shawn happy. But I don't think he even won the tag team titles with Bulldog, did he? They didn't even win the tag belts, if I remember correctly. I think the Hogan era was the most perfect era looking back. It was the most fun for sure. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. The one EB says I was watching Solid Monster and this doo-doo wants everyone to be healed. I don't know, man. I don't get the obsession with heels. They think that heels have more fun and that you could take the shackles off. You could be more of a personality if you were a heel. It's like, but somebody has to be a babyface. It can't just be Rey Mysterio versus 50 people on the roster and they're all heels. This just can't work that way. It might be great for Rey because he's gonna make a ton of merch money, but for God's sake, he needs allies, he needs partners, he needs, stories and people to work with. Other people need to work with each other. Can't have one baby face and like 99% heels. Well, he's more interesting as a heel. Like, yeah, a lot of people are more interesting as heels, for God's sake. But it's all about how you choose to present that character and book that character and do more with that character. Luger is such a blessed pro wrestler, bro. Like his physique, his look, it got him to the top in WWF and WCW. And his in-ring work never really improved. He's pretty much the same in 97 as he was in 90. And he never had to. He just kind of he got more of a personality later on as his, when he was like the total package and stuff, like the presentation and everything came together. But in ring, he never really got any better. He was pretty much the same the entire time. But Luger is tremendous. I'm not a huge fan of Luger. I always see him as a WCW guy. But I didn't hate Lex Luger when I was a kid. I didn't love him either. I just kind of thought, that's weird. Looking back on it, of course, they were trying to recreate Hulk Hogan. Like Vince was like, I can make another Hulk Hogan, no problem. And if he had him beat Yokozuna, he might have actually made another Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately for Vince, he decided to make the dumb decision to have this guy win by count out, and then not win the Rumble, and then not win at WrestleMania. Like, okay, Vince, come on, man. How dedicated were you to making him the next Hulk Hogan? Really? What was a boom period in the independents? I would imagine it would be like when WCW went out of business and a bunch of guys went to the independents, and then you had like the rise of Ring of Honor. That really helped. TNA really helped. That stuff did a lot for the indies. You know, those are probably that's why those guys are still hanging around today, like Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe and Danielson and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because of the heyday of Ring of Honor in the 2000s. Unfortunately, they're still hanging around. They won't go away. If I could wave a magic wand, all those guys would be gone today. All these little foots. They suck. AJ3, nowadays, there are a lot of great wrestlers, but there are not a lot of stars. So who are the audience going to have to pick who's the star? Because watching old WWE shows is nostalgic. Yeah, and the idea is they were trying to make stars always. Vince he pigeonholed guys quite a bit, and that was what people thought was unfair, is that he would pigeonhole a guy like a Tatanka and be like, oh well, that's a piece of the show for him. He's never going to be the top star. He's never going to be the main event. And other people were like, oh, that's not fair. There's people who legitimately think, oh, Tatanka should have won the Intercontinental title from Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania because they heard that it was supposed to happen. They're like, oh, Shawn stopped it. It's like, was he wrong? Because looking back at it, I don't think he was wrong. Look, what would have happened if Tatanka would have beat him? That's what I want to know. Tatanka wins, and maybe you pay off that 2-year winning streak or whatever. But I don't think Tatanka would have been more over. I don't think it would have done the belt any good. I think when it comes to now, yeah, Tatanka could have won it and lost it right back, but I think Shawn ultimately made the right decision by not wanting to put the belt on Tatanka, personally. But what do I know? Top Dog, do you think Cena should have stayed as a thug? No. I think they did the right thing by moving forward from that. Because, again, everything has a shelf life, man. That's one thing that Undertaker should have taught you. One thing Jericho should have taught you. One thing that, people who've been around for a long time, you got to learn everything's got a shelf life. You got to find something that works long term. That thug gimmick, that Eminem gimmick that John Cena was doing, it was only so long that shit was going to work. And it was all about just getting your foot in the door anyway. Like, these gimmicks and stuff is all about just getting your foot in the door and just getting the attention of the audience. And then you could get them to ride with you with anything. Well, for most things, not for anything. I think Luger wrestled Tatanka too much. I know he wrestled him a bunch of times in '95 too when Tatanka returned heel. Instead of being in the main events, he was wrestling Tatanka, which sucked. This match has been 11 minutes. Most people think, well, a lot of people think he should have stayed at the Thug because he would have been more over and wouldn't have gotten booed. I think that, you can never tell. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't think that shit would have lasted forever. I don't know if they, it seems like they really made a hard pivot for the purpose of trying to make John Cena more palatable for the mainstream and moving away from the niche, gimmicky white rapper thing, which to me seemed like a decent decision. Tatanka with the fire up, was crazy. I always hated how he did his little fire up thing. I always liked his finisher though. Ooh, tomahawk chop. I think if Vince was still in charge, he would treat Lyra theme song like he did Ricochet. He probably would have added the woo to her theme song, like dun 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 woo, because they was doing that in NXT, and they don't do it as much on the main roster because they don't know to do that. Eventually, they're gonna get in front of an NXT audience, and it's gonna dun 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 woo dun 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 woo, and it's gonna catch on. But you think Kurt Angle should have beat John Cena once, 2005, 2006? I don't think he should have forced the Kurt Angle issue. I think that didn't help. Angle was there to make him a better wrestler, but I don't think it helped long term in the fans' perception. Him going over Jericho and Kurt Angle. These guys who are more established, more beloved baby faces, and even though Angle was working as a heel, they were trying super hard to make Angle a heel. They had Kurt Angle going out there talking about being a terrorist and how he hates the troops and all this kind of stuff, and people were still cheering him because they hated Cena so much. That was humorous. That was a hilarious time. Bro. Cena said he was pushing 30 and knew the gimmick wouldn't last. Well, everybody with common sense knows the gimmick wasn't going to last forever. A lot of these gimmicks don't last. They're not built to last. They're not meant to. Like, what's that gimmick? Max Dupree? That was never supposed to be a long-term gimmick. He wasn't going to be Max Dupree for 30 years, for 10 years or whatever. He's probably going to be Max Dupree like 2 years or so and then transition to something else. He's always taking his time. Luger is blowing the fuck up. That's what's going on here. What you know about Black Lagoon, Prince Ali? What you know about Black Lagoon? They did a time limit draw? Man, Vince booked the shit out of Luger, didn't he? I guess he didn't want him to get beat, so. Oh my word. He want 5. That got him a pop. He said he wants 5 more minutes, brother. The crowd is up for that. Yeah, let's get 5 more. Why would you have Lex? Oh, so he could do that. 5 more minutes, my ass. That was good. That was a nice little ruse there. And look, he elbowed him in the head, and he's selling this. Mr. Perfect just got hit in the head with the urn, and he rolled out of the ring. I was like, my dome, and then that was it. He was okay. He managed to survive. Black Lagoon is Cowboy Bebop. with a boat. That's exactly what it is. I got the entire manga sitting here. The manga so far. I know it's not over yet. Black Lagoon's been going on for 20 years and it's not over. I did not know that they were still publishing Black Lagoon when I started buying the manga last year. So, or was it earlier this year? It was one or the other. And I thought the series was over because they had stopped making the anime. Like that had been done for a long time. And then I went back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read the manga because I really had come across the manga and I was like, this is fun. This is some really fun shit. And then I get to 12 and I'm like, wait a minute, brother, this ain't the whole story. Where's the rest of this thing? So I looked it up and apparently they're still publishing it and it's supposed to be wrapping up soon. And it's gonna wrap up at volume 13. But it's been like I don't know, 6 years or something like that since they last published a volume. I'm like, bro, what the hell? This is why I don't. That's why I don't buy a manga while it's running. I try to wait till it's over and then I go back and get it.
You think he's an easier opponent than Mr. Hughes would be?
No, that's not what I said.
Wait a minute. I mean, is that what you said? I think you probably kind of intimated that, really.
Gene Okerlund is instigating.
That I respect Mr. Perfect's wrestling ability, and I'd like to go in there and have a wrestling.
Wait, no, you said you prefer the endurance as to the size and strength of Mr. Hughes. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't. I said that, you could have got by Mr. Hughes. What you're saying? No, I think very well I could get past Mr. Hughes. The fact that I think I can get past you. But the thing is,
When they always put Brett in these situations where he got to wrestle another babyface and they put him in these scenarios, it's always funny because he stammers and he looks out of place. Like every time. They just did this with Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8. They put him in a babyface versus babyface match, and Piper, went in there and ate him up, and then put him over. And Perfect is doing the same thing here. Even though Brett's doing a good job of being flummoxed.
Tell you something. My style has never changed. I'll do what I have to win because why I am a winner. Hey, Brett, you weren't in SummerSlam.
Oh.
Are you suggesting?
Look, all I'm saying is the King of the Ring is the most important thing
what did he
say
say?
right now, and I am gonna win.
All right, very good. I thank you, gentlemen.
This should have been the final, bro. Like, what are they thinking? I get why they did. I get why they did it, but come on. This should have been the finals.
I'm Mr. Perfect. I am what I say I am, and that's perfect. What you're saying is the ring to the respect.
I am what I say I am. He mean it. Wait a minute, what you mean by all the Canadians are alike? Okay. Top Dog said you're right though, because by the mid to late 2000s, rap has shifted to crank that stuff, and it didn't fit that what Cena was going for. Imagine if Cena would have went out there with like an oversized shirt and Soldier Boy like glasses, which is what Jey Uso was doing now. He looked like a straight damn fool. Nobody would take him seriously at all. He already looked kind of goofy with the jerseys and everything, and the big spinning chain. He already looked silly. He didn't really look like a cartoon character. He was wearing like a Soldier Boy hat turned to the side. Only black never saw the hype with Soldier Boy. I think anybody over the age of 20 didn't understand Soldier Boy. And I know I didn't. I didn't get it. But then again, I realized at that point that it wasn't supposed to be for me. I think that's when I realized that the kids were taking over. Even though I don't know, me, Soldier Boy, well, he's a couple years younger than me, I think. Not substantially, not like 10 years younger than me. He's probably like 32, 33 or something like that. Soldier Boy. If that. This is going to be money right here. He did stomp his hands. That was good storytelling by Brett. He actually remembered that. He actually started working on that. That was the beauty of the one night tournament. A lot of people want the one night tournament to come back. I'm okay with the one night tournament. I'm okay with the one night tournament, I guess. But I'm also fine with what they're doing now because they want to eat up a lot of time with these matches. That's just their thing now. And then especially with Triple H, he wants to have. I'm surprised they didn't like turn the tournament into like a 32-man tournament or some nonsense like that. Good memory too that they wrestled at SummerSlam '92, and it's crazy because they only had those two. I think they had wrestled in the '80s too, but they didn't have a lot of matches against each other, so they had some stuff to work on. For. You got a lot going on, Prince Ali. You always, Top Dog always thought the first half of the 2010s was a better time for rap music than the second half of 2000s. That a lot of the late 2000s rap, where it became what they call snap music, was a disaster. That was pop rap right there, where guys came in, made a ton of money, disappeared. Them franchise boys. What was the guys that did Nuck If You Buck? They come in, they made a ton of money off singles. They sold almost no albums, and then they disappeared. Ringtone rap, as they called it. The little flip era. Those guys made a ton of money very quickly and then got the hell out of there. Chameleon made a grip. A lot of them going to end up being Southern rappers. Mostly Atlanta and Houston. But what can you do? I think the only song I really hear a lot outside of that era that's from that era is like D4L, Tatted Up, and Geeked Up. Those are the only songs I really hear a lot from that era. I used to hear Geeked Up all the time. They actually played on the radio too. When you first started hearing people talk about popping pills. Well, not the first time, but that's where it kind of was popularized. Then Future took it to the next level. Guys drinking that lean. Go, Brett, go. Go, Brett, go. This tournament moving by at a nice little clip. It's already an hour into the show. It looked hot in there, man. I can tell you that much. It looked hot in that building. And all these people are super close together. The early 2010s rap scene had Kendrick Lamar, Old Drake, Kid Cudi, Mac Miller, J. Cole, Eminem coming back with the great music. Rick Ross way better than the late 2010s. I mean, late 2000s. Okay. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar became a thing in like 2009. His album came out, well, Good Kid, Mad City came out in like 2011, I think. So he had done 2 mixtapes and an underground album at that point. So he was pretty polished. I was kind of a fan of Mac Miller, but not really. Like, there's Mac Miller songs that I like. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of Mac Miller's albums, like his mixtapes. Like The Best Day Ever was a pretty cool mixtape. I was a big fan of J. Cole, Friday Night Lights, Warm Up. Eminem, I was out of the Eminem game. I didn't care about Eminem at all at that point. I wasn't a big fan of Kid Cudi either, but I knew people who were fans of Kid Cudi. I was more fans of what Kid Cudi was doing with Kanye recently, like "Father Stretch My Hands." Like, that was tremendous. It almost made me like I want to listen to Kid Cudi, but I was like, nah, I ain't gonna. I got talked into listening to his album. I listened to it, but I didn't remember it. And then he started doing like rock shit and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I think he turned off even the most ardent fans, and he started doing like non-hip hop stuff. Look at how cocky Perfect is, for God's sake. That was dirty. I love that. That was dirty.
What impact as Hart's face met the top turnbuckle very, very abruptly.
Ooh wee.
Thunderous chop and a coming axe-like forearm from Mr. Perfect and stiff kicks.
Look at how good his strikes look, man. Yes, he seems to have a second gear. Like he knows he has to work heel in this match because that's the format. So he's actually leaning into it, but he's not turning. He's just being more aggressive. Being a little bit more agitated. And taking some cheap shots here and there in order to get that whole thing. I remember Brett saying how much he hated taking chops, but he's taking quite a few here. Why would anybody be watching Dynamite tonight? Dynamite today is Thursday. The late 2000s, Dougie, you the jerk, Soldier Boy, it was a bad time. It's a bad time for everything. It wasn't good for nothing. Except for ringtones. Like if you wanted to make ringtone music, that was great. You wanted to go work with your Fruity Loops. It worked out just fine for you, brother. But for everybody else, it was a disaster. You want to listen to a whole album? Forget it. They had a nice little 30 seconds for you. Oh no. Oh no. Look at how great Brett is selling this knee injury. It's believable, which is an element that people are missing in the way they sell these days. Is that he actually looks believable in doing this. He's so good. This is why you got Brett as a wrestler's wrestler. He doesn't have to do a hell of a lot. That was still a pretty nasty bump, but he didn't have to do a lot, Make the most out of the things that you got here. I like that simple knee strike. That's the second time he's done that. And he's also, working. He's working everything, like still selling the hand while he's selling the knee. And he's selling kind of exhaustion. He's moving very lethargically. Everything is done with purpose. What is he doing? A flying drop kick from Mr. Perfect? That's crazy. Oh, he put his foot on the ropes. That was nice. Oof. Oh! Oh my God. This is how the pace picked up. Like the pace literally picked up, but they're not doing like crazy flips or anything like that. It's just Perfect is more aggressive. He's more on top of it. And he's doing stuff that's out of character, like going to the top rope. That's the second time doing that. Was I a fan of Nickelodeon? Yes and no. I loved Rugrats. I liked Rocko's Modern Life. but I didn't like any of their live action shows. I liked some of those game shows, like the one where the kids had to run around in like a little dungeon like thing. That was fun. But I was like not a super fan of Nickelodeon as a kid. I think I was a little too old when I finally, when Nickelodeon really hit its stride rather. I was more of a Cartoon Network kid. When I even had cable, because I didn't even have cable for most of my childhood, really, to be honest. So when I did watch Rugrats, I watched Rugrats over Young Sir's house because he had cable. I didn't have cable for most of the time. When I go to my cousin's house or something like that, we watch like Cartoon Network. Anytime we had cable, it was bootleg, brother. I didn't know people actually paid for cable. What's Cartoon Network's biggest draw? Teen Titans Go, I think. But before that, back when I was watching it, I was a big fan of Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, Samurai Jack, of course, Adult Swim, of course, the anime block after school, even though I didn't go to school. So like Gundam and Dragon Ball, that whole block right there, tremendous. Was it Keenan and Kel? Yes and no, because I was young enough to kind of be in the age bracket that they were looking for, but I think I was too old that it wasn't really funny to me. I thought they were kind of goofy, and goofy can be good. Like I love Will Ferrell; he's goofy as hell. But I didn't find the Good Burger guys to be that funny. I didn't like Kenny and Kel; they were kind of corny to me. But Cartoon Network also he says, have you ever seen any of these obscure black shows like Wayne Head, the Boo Crew shows like that? Yeah, I remember Wayne Head. I remember when Wayne Head, little Bill Cosby, the PJs. I remember most of those shows. Yeah, when they were Bebe's Kids, all that kind of stuff. I remember all that shit came out. All that stuff came and went. It didn't stick. The Cartoon Network biggest draw should have been Samurai Jack and Ed, and Eddie. I didn't ever liked Ed, and Eddie really. Not really my thing. I love Samurai Jack though. Samurai Jack rules. I watched Samurai Jack recently, the entire series, and they made a hard turn from what Samurai Jack was when it first was on, which was a collection of stories that were usually blue sky stories. Jack would be introduced to a gimmick. He'd fight a boss or something like that, beat them, and move on to the next thing. And then it became the long form story when it rebooted. And the long form story took it to the next level, I think. And so that maybe should have been the pace and the way they did it from the beginning, but it's still a tremendous show. We're all afraid to admit we watched the Powerpuff Girls. It's okay. I watched like an episode or two of the Powerpuff Girls, but I never really watched the Powerpuff Girls. I said I was going to watch it this year, actually. So maybe I'll actually start watching the Powerpuff Girls this year. I watched more Sailor Moon than I did with the Powerpuff Girls. And it wasn't because they were girls. It just didn't. Part of it was the animation style. Like I just didn't get the animation style. I wasn't into it. Early to mid '90s, Nick was at its best era. I don't know. Again, I think it's the animation thing. I didn't really like the animation of Eddie. And I probably watched enough of it, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. I couldn't tell you anything about it except for all the characters named Eddie. I couldn't tell you much about it. Did I remember Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victoria? That's all way after my time. I know iCarly. I was pretty much a teenager or an adult when that thing happened. I never watched Totally Spies either. I've never even. If I do, I know I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. You know, Their 25th episode was a couple of months ago in November. I think the best episode was the Rowdy Rough Boys. You mean for the Powerpuff Girls? They had more than 25. You mean 21st anniversary episode? Because I'm pretty sure they had more than 25 episodes. The Powerpuff Girls on for several years. I did watch Courage the Cowardly Dog. It was okay. It wasn't must-see television for me. Is that what they did to Powerpuff Girls and they introduced the black girl? Oh, that was a hell of an uppercut right there, brother. Was I a fan of the late 90s Disney Channel shows like Jet Jackson? So weird. I never even watched the Disney Channel. I'm not even going to hold you. I was never, outside of Aladdin and The Lion King, I thought Disney was for girls. I didn't really pay attention to it. Oh, he working the crotch. That ring sound like it hurt like a motherfucker, dog. You hear how that ring sound? And Earl beat the shit out that ring too with the count. These boys in there working their asses off. Great elbow drop. Randy Savage said he felt like he's in this joint himself, brother. Oh no, what'd I do with my water? Did I drink it? Oh no, I think I drank it. That was brilliant, and he went away from it for such a long time before coming back to it. What great psychology. They worked like 10 minutes without perfect touching his hand just to go back to it during the sharpshooter. That was genius. That was very well done psychologically. And here comes a counter. I can see that shit coming. Oopsie daisy. They're both on the floor. That was an amazing spot for 1993. Sink water be banging when it's cold. Shit, when you hot, any cold water works. I don't give a fuck where that shit come from. That's not from the toilet, of course, but pretty much anywhere. Macho Man dropping a diss on Hogan. It's still hilarious. I listened to it the other day, actually. Be a Man, Hogan. It's wild. It's wilderness for sure. Oh, that was a Bret Hart pulling. He pulled a Bret Hart trick. Well, that was excellent. What a great fucking finish, man. Perfect. Outsmarted Bret and then got outsmarted again. One step ahead. One step ahead. Perfect is always one step behind, brother. I'm pretty sure Kurt was younger than Bret at this point, too. His body had more wear and tear on it. They might have been around the same age. No, he's limping, Randy. Pay attention. He had a big love-hate thing with Hogan. It's crazy. It ended up in Randy Savage's biography by John Finkel that him and Hogan supposedly made up. But he took Hogan's word for it, which is a rookie mistake. Taking Hogan's word for it is a rookie mistake. That was a good way of getting Perfect back over as a babyface after he, was doing nasty shit in this match. Randy Savage is one of a kind, guys. Anything he can't do, trust his wife around, guys. That's probably it. He couldn't manage to do that, but yeah, he is without his glass. He's in full gimmick. Like, this is great. Everybody else is dressed up, and then here's Randy Savage in full gimmick with his face on his chest. Do you believe the rumor that Macho Man gave Hogan a black eye at WrestleMania 9?
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 5-time
I don't think
World
so.
Wrestling Federation champ.
I don't think
This
so.
is the immortal Hulk Hogan, the great American hero.
I don't know. What they've been fighting over in 92. I think Liz was already gone, so what were they fighting over? When Hogan decided that he needed a manager and it needed to be Jimmy Hart, and Jimmy Hart needed to be everywhere with him, I think that was peak Hulkamania jumping shark. The airbrushed Hulkster.
And these, brother, are the heavy-duty artillery that's going to shoot Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji right out of their nest, brother. Right here in Dayton, Ohio, the heartland of
Jimmy
America.
Hart, great
There's
worker.
no water around us.
Great worker.
There will be no sneak attack. I've got Yokozuna right in the center of the ring, brother. And the power of the Hulkamaniacs, the power of the little Hulksters. This is where Hulk Hogan's power lies, brother. All the training, all the prayers, all the vitamins. 5 times a WWF champion. I will remain that way, Mean Gene, after I test the power of Fuji's Yokozuna. 5-time World Wrestling Federation champion. No
Holy
Luke,
hell,
but
brother.
of course, I should remind you that Mr. Fuji is going to be in Yokozuna's corner. We all know what he's capable of. Tell him about Mr. Fuji.
Hogan's hair got longer and his hairline went poof. That shit just evaporated. His hairline begins right at the back of his head. It's crazy. They said Savage used to wear lifts, but he never wore heels though. He wore lifts. It's a crazy thing that short guys always wear lifts in wrestling. I don't understand that. It affects how they work. Jericho said Vince made him wear lifts when he came to the WWF. And part of the reason why he wasn't being utilized because he couldn't work in the lifts. I'm pretty sure that was just an excuse, though.
It's all on the line right here in Dayton, the heartland of the USA.
Raven used to also wear lifts because he had one leg longer than the other.
By crook or by hook, I'll put that big man down. What you gonna do?
And of course, Kane was wearing lifts because he had to be taller than the Undertaker by a significant margin. What beef do you think was more personal? Oh, Hogan and Savage, easy. Hogan, wife and Savage's wife were friends, and she was hanging out with the Hogans a little much. Gave Savage the wrong idea, and then that one time where Savage couldn't find Liz, and then he ultimately found her at Hogan's house. Oh, brother, there's nothing more personal than that. I'm pretty sure if Randy had a gun, he'd shot that house up. Just off of what he probably had to be thinking about what's going on in there. There's nothing worse than that, brother. I know Sean and Brett had got into some things, but Brett ain't never found his wife at Sean's house. So I can tell you that. So it ain't never happened like that. So. Look at these people, these photographers who clearly look like people in disguises. Well, you know what? I never was a big fan of Yokozuna. But one of the things that really threw me for a loop is how sometimes he was Japanese, sometimes he wasn't. That thing used to kill me. Like, looking back on it, you could tell that they clearly wanted him to be Japanese. And then over time, they just said, okay, he's not Japanese. He's a giant Samoan. but we're calling him Yokozuna because that's his title. And that's not how he was introduced at all. He was introduced as a giant Japanese guy, but he doesn't even look Japanese. Yeah, it happened. It actually did happen. It literally did happen. She was hanging out with Linda at Hogan's house, and they didn't know that Randy didn't know that she was there. And when he popped up and she was there, all hell broke loose. So yeah, it was not a. She was hiding from Randy and went to Hogan's house, and that was it. That was it. I don't remember what year that was. I'm pretty sure it was the early '90s, I think, maybe late '80s. But they, according to Hogan, he tried to make up with Randy a bunch of times, and they would get on good terms. Like when he was part of the catalyst of why Randy ended up in the WCW is that because Hogan pushed for him, and but they started getting into it in WCW too. Even though Liz was gone by that point in time, it was still. Then they brought Liz in, which was crazy. They brought Liz in WCW. Boy, like, oh my god. I wish they hadn't done that. I really wish they hadn't done that. I really wish they hadn't done that. She might still be alive if they hadn't done that. Wouldn't Yokozuna work if he was a Samoan sumo champion? Yeah, that was the plan, but it seemed like they wanted him to be Japanese first. Then they decided, he's not Japanese. He's just a big fat Samoan. And the change was subtle, but it ended up happening. The Japanese flags don't help much because it's supposed to make you believe that he's fighting on behalf of Japan. But he's not Japanese. And nobody knew that at the time, though. Nobody cared. Hogan's starting to lose weight at this point. He's off the roids. Steroid trial about to happen, so Hogan had to win and lost some of that mass. Hogan and Savage should have had a real fight. I don't think. As much as both of them probably wanted to fight, I think it was mostly Savage wanting to fight Hogan. I think a lot of times if people just go ahead and fight the heat to get over with. Part of the reason why I think the beef went on for so long is because they didn't fight. If they'd have fought in like '87 when Savage wanted to fight him, they probably would have been best friends from that point forward. And Savage might have actually respected him if he'd fought him. But Hogan didn't want to fight. I'm surprised they didn't put Hogan in a hairpiece. Like when he did like Thunder in Paradise and stuff like that when he was wearing that hairpiece. I'm surprised Vince didn't make him do that like on a permanent basis. Like, let's go get a hairpiece, brother. But I think it's mostly because everybody already knew he was bald. So him coming back with hair would have looked weird. But he's already did weird shit. Like he went and got that big old Spartan helmet that one time. And he was wearing that Spartan helmet for a little bit. Doing dumb things. Very dumb things. You said Hogan was getting booed? I didn't hear him get booed. Why did he get booed in the match against Yokozuna, for God's sake? Oh my God, Jimmy Hart. He's so loud. Notice Hogan is going on before Shawn. So he's trying to get out of there, brother. He's trying to get the hell out of there. And they don't want to send people home disappointed and upset. Classic Vince move. You don't want to send them home disappointed. So we're going to put the champion on first, switch the belt, and then call it a day. Hogan probably said it didn't work for him. Yeah, it probably made no sense business wise to go and get in a fight with Randy Savage. Of course, Hogan claims that he actually was down to fight Randy on a couple of occasions, and it didn't happen, so I don't believe him. But I do believe Randy Savage got into a fight with Hawk. Was it Savage and Hawk that got into a fight at a concert or something like that? Like if I remember correctly, it was somebody in Hawk. I believe it was Randy Savage. They got into a fight at a concert. It was like, man, Savage would fight Hogan. What the fuck? He ain't scared of Hulk Hogan for what? He wanted to fight Hulk Hogan like he wanted to breathe. He didn't want to lose his job, so he didn't do it. That's the only thing that Shawn and Brett actually did. They actually got into fights. So, like physical altercations. Savage and Hogan never got to that point. Oh, Heenan is that a racist joke that I just heard? The hairpiece would have fell off mid-entrance. Well, back then, yeah. Today's toupees would probably would have lasted a little bit longer, but back then, yeah, that motherfucking hairpiece would have flew off. First sign of trouble. Have I ever seen any of Hogan's movies other than No Holds Barred? I saw the Suburban Commando. I think I watched that for the channel, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did Suburban Commando. I think I movie review for Suburban Commando, if I remember correctly. I saw a couple of episodes of Thunder in Paradise. I probably watched some other Hogan movies, but I can't remember them. But I'm pretty sure I watched Suburban Commando for the channel. The timestamp is 1 hour 33 minutes. 1 hour 33 minutes. That's the timestamp. 550 pounds. What? How do you even get that big, bro? That's some Samoan genetics. He's big all over, dog. It's a shame. It's crazy how old Mr. Fuji is here, dog. He's like an old turtle. What year did Mr. Fuji die? Three Ninjas and Sky Mountain. Oh, Lord. I remember when Three Ninjas first came out, people were super excited for that movie. And the crazy thing is, it became a cult classic where people still talk about it today. And I don't know why. I saw Three Ninjas. I didn't think it was that great. Oh, look at this. Look at Hogan grabbing the ankle. Great psychology. He's pleading. Heenan and his on-screen hatred of Hulk Hogan lasted for 10 years, bro. Like, that shit was amazing. Fuji died in 2016. Oh, wow. Damn, he was an old man. Because he's old as hell here in 93. He old as a son of a bitch. Look, turtle with no shell. Yeah, 2016. That means he lived another 20 years, 23 years. Oh wait a minute. He couldn't get him. If Hogan could body slam Andre the Giant, he should be able to body slam Yokozuna. Andre the Giant was 1,500 pounds, bro. Do it for your bank account. Look at how safe Hogan's punches are. Like he punches it on the top of his hand, which is pretty obvious for anybody who's paying attention. Didn't Hogan slam Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9? Because I was thinking about that. Like they launched Lex Luger off of slamming Yoko. I thought Hogan slammed him already. I don't remember. I remember the match was 9 seconds, but I don't think he slammed him. Now that I think about it, I thought he did though. He was 59 and 93. Oh shit! Good lord, bro. Then he did it to be 80 or something like that. Nearly 80. Wow. Fuji lived a long life compared to other wrestlers. He's alive a long time. And most people will know him from being Yokozuna's manager these days. They wouldn't know him for being a wrestler. Jimmy Hart literally is useless, bro. He doesn't do anything. He's not adding shit to Hulk Hogan's gimmick. He's not adding shit to Hogan's gimmick. But you getting them paydays though, brother. A very simple bear hug. Bret and Shawn had one thing in common. They both hated Hogan. Did you watch that sit down he did with Jim Ross? The Bret Shawn sit down thing? And they bonded over dinosaurs. And that was what Bret and Shawn was calling guys like Hogan and Savage and Roddy Piper, the guys who never really helped them and all that kind of stuff. Even though they helped Bret. Well, Piper helped Bret. But and Randy wanted to help Shawn, but Vince put the kibosh on it. But that was one of the things that they bonded over, is trying to get over these 80s guys. And you know, even though Shawn was significantly younger than Bret, it was more of a Bret issue. But Shawn was there with them, like a lot of the old ideas about him being too small, both of them being too small. Which, you know, Jake Roberts was another guy who didn't apparently like them for being main event guys and all that kind of stuff. But it's amazing. Like they were friends because they had a similar gripe, and that is that the older guys wouldn't get the fuck out the way, and so they had a whole issue with that. Well, they didn't really have a real beef. It was more or less Vince wanted to, Hogan wanted to protect Hulkamania. Then there was the steroid thing, the steroid trial. But Hogan didn't testify against Vince. He just basically said we used to do steroids together. Do you think they bond over looking like crippled old lesbians in their later years? Bret does look like an old lesbian for sure. Shawn looks like an old bum. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how he managed to shrivel like that. I think when he cut all his hair off, I think that's years of chewing tobacco too. It fucked him up something terrible. And all the drug use he did.
Just level it out. out one more time. Against Yokozuna, I hate to see this momentum stay this way.
Look at this. Yokozuna!
I always thought that should be Yoko's finisher, the big belly-to-belly suplex. That and the leg drop are like, you don't even need the bonsai drop. With his size, it's completely believable that he could win with this. And then Hogan had the power out of it. Are you serious? Are you serious? The people they're into hawking up, but they're not as into it as they usually are, which shows you how the power of Hulkamania is starting to wane. That's back. See, the 90s and the 80s, there was guys competing for a spot. You know, there was no guaranteed contracts. Guys were getting paid off the house, what they call pay sheets. They wanted to be the top dog. In today's modern era, everybody gets paid regardless. We don't really care about being the top guy. Even if you care, you come across as being whiny. Like Seth Rollins is very whiny. You know, they don't come across as, break Roman Reigns' fucking jaw, or you know. I think Randy complained about it too. Like, guys will accidentally on purpose try to hurt him and stuff like this. That's the nature of the shark pit. It ain't been the shark pit in a while though. Everybody's friends. They play video games together and shit now. Hogan jumped up, really. So Yokozuna didn't have to kick out of it. He did. He really did. Uh-oh. Holy hell. That was amazing. That was amazing. What a weird finish. What a weird finish that is. That match longer than I thought it was going to be. Macho Man and Eazy in the 90s had a random meetup. Oh my God, that could be hilarious. That could have been a hilarious situation right there. They probably could have met on the set of Arsenio or something. That would have been so much fun. There's no burn marks. There's nothing on Hogan's face. You're perfectly fine, sir. But he's selling it. Yoko is massive, bro. I mean, he is huge beyond belief. I believe he's every inch of 500 pounds, boy. That's a big guy. Really big guy. Bruce Pritchard swears up and down they was doing this because they wanted Hogan to do the European tour and blah, 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 blah. Ended up being, and it seems like they can prove that the European tour was after this. That's one of those things where Bruce is bullshit. Even though, once you realize that Bruce is, Vince's handmaiden, this thing is not going to turn out the way that you want it to. There's children crying? I want to see that. Show that. Oh, it was a baby crying. Oh, poor baby. Oh, look at the disappointed kids. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. And nobody did anything to that random guy. He just ran off, and that was it. Nobody tried to stop him or nothing. He just ran off. I guess Jimmy Hart was chasing him.
And Hogan could not slam Yokozuna. He didn't slam Yokozuna, and he lost.
Some people actually like this Yoko one. That's weird.
Has Yokozuna killed Hulkamania? Has
Yes.
Yokozuna ended
That's the end, brother. That's it for Hulkamania right there, son. Macho Man and Eazy-E on Arsenio Hall dissing Hogan and Dr. Dre. I just watched a clip of Eazy-E on Arsenio in a bathrobe, barefoot, with KRS. Eazy was clowning, dog. I just realized, too, upon reading this book, that Eazy died. He was only 30. Like, that's crazy, bro. He was only 30 when he died. That's sad. That's sad as hell. He had so much more trolling to do. I think him and Dre would have made up eventually. And they made up pretty quickly, too.
Video. I know you're disappointed. It was a great match. It's too bad there had to be a loser. How do you feel? I mean, King of the Ring and Bret Hart.
What do you mean? How do I feel?
Terry Taylor is probably the same age as Kurt Hennig. Why did he wrestle? What's going on?
Bret Hart's a great wrestler. I've had many matches.
Didn't he go back and wrestle in WCW?
Injured my back and my fingers a little bit, and I'm sure Bret Hart's not feeling too good either. But to tell you the truth, I just do not talk about it. Coliseum video or not, I'm out of here, Mr. Perfect. You just keep your eyes open on Mr. Perfect. I'll show you what Perfect's all about.
Can't hardly blame him. Great match. It came up.
Look at the neck on Terry Taylor. You got enough of you boys.
All right, the great city of Detroit has always embraced.
Wait a minute. What's it about Detroit now?
First of all, at WrestleMania 3 back in 1987, and later on for the Survivor Series in 1991. I cannot believe, ladies and gentlemen, what we have just seen, but I believe it's official. It has been confirmed. There is a new World Wrestling Federation champion, and he.
What you mean it's been confirmed? It's been confirmed for the last 10 minutes. It was announced.
Are available with me right now. Speaking of champions, the Intercontinental Champion.
Sean is such a cartoon character. I mean, look at this guy. The ridiculous earrings.
I'm very interested.
And he's chewing in exaggeration.
Whether you believe lightning could strike twice in the same building.
And all Nash got to do is stand there and get more.
I think we can agree that lightning definitely struck once. I mean, it struck Hulk Hogan, but that kind of stuff doesn't affect Shawn Michaels. I mean, I think we can agree that Hulk Hogan is not the caliber of superstar that Shawn Michaels is. I mean, come on. The guy is a dinosaur, and Yokozuna like a big old brontosaurus burger. A little bit. You've been watching too much of that Jurassic Park. Now, Shawn Michaels, I'm very curious. We saw this man appear out of nowhere, out of left field, in Albany, New York, when you recapture the Intercontinental title. This so-called bodyguard, this insurance policy, what's his name? What's his name? His name's my insurance policy. That's what it is. Oh, he's got to have a name. Does he talk? Okay, no, I do the talk. You want to know what his name is? Yeah. I'll give you the info. His name is Diesel, as in diesel fuel, that which makes a Mack truck go. This is a Mack truck, and this man protects Shawn Michaels every inch of the way. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Get ready for more action here at the King of the Ring right now. Let's get back to ringside.
Oh no, here comes the Steiner brothers. Oh boy. I don't even know who the hell they wrestling. I don't pay attention to this kind of stuff. I forgot this match was even booked for this show. I'm pretty sure the Steiner brothers are not going to be very popular in Ohio. But what can you do? I guess he's not thinking. Vince ain't paying attention. Dayton is not far enough. The Steiners and Smoking Guns versus the Head Shrinkers and Money Inc. Why wasn't Ted in the tournament? Put Ted in the tournament, brother. Oh, he's a champion. But he's cool. It's Fatu and Big Sam. If I remember correctly, Sam is Jacob Fatu's father. If I remember correctly. I don't remember that family tree. What beef do you think was more personal, Paul Heyman versus wrestlers' paychecks? Man, it was crazy. Paul literally left everybody else to pay the boys. Like, that was sick. Tommy Dreamer trying to figure out how to pay these fucking guys, man. And Paul is just, he's gone. He just took off already. Like, he's already, this thing is dead. He took off and just left the boys to figure it out for themselves. That's crazy. That's crazy. No wonder Tommy Dreamer wanted to kill his ass. Oh, clearly Hogan. Hogan was, I mean, one guy got creative control into his contract. The other one basically is a good little soldier who just happens to have some level of influence, which is the right thing to do. But Hogan was like approving finishes and all kinds of stuff, man. Approving the feuds, everything. Hogan was a real piece of work. We need another Ted DiBiase, a guy who could do everything but played a really great character. Who was believable in every role. DiBiase was a little bit older at this point, though. Would have been a great time to make him the world champion if Vince was thinking, but he wasn't, clearly. And a lot of these guys who end up with like really bad backs and stuff, they're like the selling guys, the guys who sell a lot. And DiBiase is one of those dudes. He takes like a lot of bumps. Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Ted DiBiase. They all started breaking down around the same time too. Now you could blame drugs and steroids for like Perfect and Rick Rude, but not for Ted DiBiase. Edge and Matt Hardy beef from 2005 was up there in terms of really personal. Yeah, but I never heard of them getting into fights though. Like that whole thing got nasty. That thing got nasty really fast. But they actually managed to keep it professional, and for the most part, once Matt got fired, that pretty much cleared up everything. I think Vince was a little smart. He just decided we're going to end this thing by firing Matt and calling it a day. If he was a real misogynist, if he was really the son of Future, he would have fired Lita for what she did. She belongs to the streets. But Vince was always looking for the money. So he figured the money was in Lita and Edge being a team, and it worked. Everybody in this match, with the exception of Scott, has a son that wrestles. At least one. Wait a minute. Does Bart Gunn have a son that wrestles? Nope, I don't think so. So except Scott and Bart Gunn, everybody else has at least one son that wrestles. IRS, Billy, and Fatu. They have two or more that wrestle. 3 of Fatu's sons are wrestlers. 2 of IRS's sons, both his boys are wrestlers. 2 of Billy's sons are wrestlers. That's crazy. You heard they were throwing hands when he came back? Oh, yeah, they probably were working stiff, but I don't think they were like fighting. They're probably working Steph though, which is probably the smart way to do it, to get people to believe the angle is to work Steph. But it would still work. That's the one thing about wrestling is you can work a little bit stiffer with somebody you don't like, and then just get it out of your system. I was surprised at how professional they were when Matt Hardy came back. And I actually think Matt should have been rewarded for that. Maybe he was rewarded with a paycheck, but I was always very impressed at how he came back and lost the feud. Didn't even make sure he won the feud. He lost the feud. That sucked. That was the worst thing about it. He came back, was red fucking hot, working with Edge, and lost the goddamn feud. I mean, as soon as they booked him to lose the first match, I knew something was wrong. But they booked him to lose the match by referee stoppage. Speaking of Matt, he was talking about the different locker room cultures from when he first got into business to today. So what is the difference? I would imagine he would explain what the differences are. But I would imagine the difference is like would be considered a locker room leader nowadays, as opposed to always being one of the guys who is, listening to somebody else. I would imagine when he was in Ring of Honor, he probably had a little bit of stroke. I'm pretty sure he had some stroke with in TNA too. Randy Orton versus Divas Bags. Randy Orton and Edge versus sleeping women on airplanes. Surprised they didn't wake up with no eyebrows or something like that. Some real childish shit. But shitting in people's bags, that's psychotic. And I don't know where guys like him and X-Pac got that from. Like, that's some really psychotic shit to do to somebody. It's just shit in their bag. That's really, really crazy. Are you trying to insult them? Like, yeah, actually. I am trying to insult them. Well, what the hell? Oh, I'm glad they kept this short. It didn't go forever. But why was Teddy the one that took the pin? IRS should have took the pin. Oh. Sabu versus Table. Sabu versus his own physiology. When you got like this dude put barbed wire in his own fucking jaw. Barbed wire in his own biceps. These guy's a fucking crazy person.
Versus the Hitman Bret Hart for the King of the Ring.
Randy Savage is fired up. Wasn't Dynamite Kid the first to do the poop bags? You know what? He might have been, but because he did a lot of mean shit to people. So he does a lot of sick shit to folks. These people are insane. Oh no, Jack Tunney. Everybody in this shot is dead. That's crazy. Except for these camera guys. I don't know. The four principal players in this scene.
Very pleased. I thank you, President Tunney. Now, Mr. Fuji, things certainly going down tonight a whole lot different than they did at WrestleMania 9.
Oh, like I told you, Gene Oakland.
He's sweating like a motherfucker, too. That was hot in the hell in that building.
550 pounds.
That's gross, dog. Stop it. That's gross. Back then, guys got away with stuff like hazing, testing people's toughness, but now everybody is caring, helping each other out, teamwork. That's true. I mean, again, everybody gets paid regardless of whether they work or not. So back then, Shawn Michaels going long in a ladder match cost you a WrestleMania payday. These days, you would have got paid anyway. You would have lost your spot, but you got paid anyway. So I don't like, whatever. I'm pretty sure he got a lot of heat for that. I'm pretty sure Jeff Jarrett was not happy about that one. What?
In America.
What are we talking about here? Sabu I grew up with Sabu. I didn't grow up. Abdullah the Butcher was already old as hell when I came on. I remember him from that terrible Thunderdome match in WCW.
Not too close with that camera. Light a camera. A little decorum here, please.
A little decorum here, please.
Very good. I thank you, Mr. Fuji. And thank you very much, Yokozuna. From here, we go back to Japan. Is that the bottom line?
No. You know what? We will celebrate in America. Big celebration.
Celebrating Dayton, Ohio? What are you going to do? There ain't enough rice in Dayton for this big dude. There ain't enough ramen in the metropolitan area for Yokozuna. Yokozuna, as Fuji used to say. John Cena stealing Mickey James from Kenny Dykstra. Oh, God, that was crazy, wasn't it? What a crazy time that was. That was an interesting story right there, brother. He was a young dude, too. He didn't know what he was doing. I heard that was one of those things that got out of hand. That she became a little too attached to John. That's why she started getting de-pushed around that time. I hate Crush. Oh my God, I hate Crush so much. Ugh. He's so bland. Guy had 100 gimmicks. None of them got over. Big for nothing. And he got a mullet. Vince gave up on Crush pretty quick, though. He kept him around, but he gave up on him. Oh, that was sick. Matt Hardy taking pumps in the ring was sick. I don't know why he even agreed to that. That could only happen if you agreed to it. He's an idiot. He must have thought it was going to be funny. I'm surprised they didn't edit that out of the show on Peacock. Last I checked, it's still there. Good old Shawn Michaels. They talking about Marty Jannetty. Why? We're over Jannetty right now. Diesel's here. We're not talking about Jannetty anymore. Jannetty is done. Jannetty is over. Is that a girl standing up back there in the crowd? I think I just saw a girl stand up. Like she's like standing on somebody from it looks like she's stand out. Like she wants to be seen. Sean, look at me. He only borrowed Melina. He didn't steal her. He only borrowed. He gave her back. Looks like Sean. He gave Sonny back. He just borrowed her for a little bit. He didn't steal that girl. He borrowed her. He didn't keep her, so it's okay, right? It's crazy that Vince decided that he wasn't going to push guys because somebody fucked your girlfriend and you didn't do anything about it. And then him to be like into cuck shit when he got older is really bizarre. Yeah. Vince learned about the power of cucking. He was like, sounds good. Like, good shit. No wonder. Your girl Jada almost drew a $700,000 in her match this week. Oh yeah, I'm very impressed. You know, I'm not surprised either. Like I knew it was going to start happening when she ended up on what's the name? Shit, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. It'll come back. But I knew once she got over into the culture, it was going to blow up. and I knew it was going to happen. I'm thinking this match is not going to end by pinfall. It's going to end up by disqualification or something silly like that. Because I don't think Shawn was going to pin Crush. This is not during. Actually, no, because Crush is like he got pinned by Doink, so maybe he will lose by pinfall here. This ain't the first Shawn Crush match either. I think this is like the second or third. Because I think they wrestled on some of those Coliseum home video tapes. I think they had like a match in Europe.
I like Diesel standing here in the corner. He's standing on the ground, and he's looking over the top rope almost.
Michaels with that standing arm bar. Michaels, one would assume, after hit and run here, perhaps destroy some of the balance of this big man.
Remember when Vince McMahon's grandson made wrestling fans mad because he said he didn't watch AEW?
A lot of people tell me.
Oh, why would he be a wrestling fan? Like, that's the craziest thing in the world. Like, why would Declan McMahon all of a sudden be a wrestling fan? Are you fucking serious? Whoa, that was a nice drop kick, actually. Shawn oversold it, too. Why in the world would he be a wrestling fan? I don't think he would watch a single wrestling product outside of WWE. What would be the purpose? You know, like, to do what exactly? His entire family is on this show. Why the hell would he watch that one? I guess they would imagine, oh, he's going to be a fan of everything. Like, no. Why? Like I said, I'm pretty sure his grandson going to a mid-level Big Ten school is probably why Shane McMahon is not in the will. His son been a white running back in Indiana. It's probably not why. It's probably why Shane McMahon is not in the wheel anymore. And his other son is a Tar Heel, for God's sake. Oh, Lord. I think The Rock could have, but most of those guys in that time were married. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some real crazy stories about The Rock that we haven't heard. Yeah, Declan even acts like Vince sometimes, so it's like he's little Vince. There's just no way he's gonna sit there and watch some AEW. You gotta be kidding me. Shaka Bra. What does that mean? Yeah, actually. That's what the guy's there for, to make sure Shawn doesn't lose. I don't like Crush's move. That head crush thing. Who told him to do that? The vice grip head thing. Who told him to do that? You better off doing the Von Erich claw than doing this head crushing thing. I hate it so much. Damn, Randy got a lot of faith in Crush. You have so much faith in Crush. Oh, it's a big count out there, huh? This feels like a count out to me. No, he clearly didn't see it. If he saw it, it'd have been scored. Honestly, I hate to be in Declan's position. You're trying to live your life, but everyone just keep asking you about what your granddad is doing. Oh my God, that got to be sick. That's got to be sick, especially on a college campus. That's sick. I would take like a year off, bro. I legit would take a year off until this thing dies down. That shit would have drove me nuts, bro. I'd have flipped out. I'd have flipped out when the first person that said, like, your granddad's a rapist. He's a sex trafficker. I'd have nutted up. I need to take a year off, cuz I would have told the old man, like, look, I gotta take a year off because I'm about to beat somebody to death in this joint.
Michael's trying to get him up. The 315 pounder.
I definitely think if your dad or your granddad get charged with sex trafficking, you should definitely take some time off of school. You know, disappear for a little bit so your social life won't take such a huge hit. Oh, Crush dead. Huh? They're still gonna kick out. But both of Shane's sons are in college, so they get in the shaft. I'm not sure if Triple H's daughters are in college yet. So that's got to be even worse, right? I'm pretty sure it's a little bit better because their dad running the company now. But oh boy, I couldn't imagine Vince being my granddad and I'm in college or high school. Oh hell, oh my god. Oh, all the friends that you know. Your granddad a sex trafficker. You be fighting every goddamn day, man. No. No. Not me. Isn't Indiana a red state? Yeah, but it's Indiana. It sucks. Indiana sucks. Yeah, it's a red state, but it sucks. It's got blue cities like Indianapolis, of course, but it sucks. Did I hear about the Japanese voice actor that played? I'm guessing you mean Yamcha? No, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I saw the shoot interviews when they were high and drunk and talking shit about Triple H. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were absolutely the purveyors of a lot of the Triple H's holding Randy Orton down stuff that came out around that same time. And to be quite honest, I actually believe that. After seeing what happened with Triple H trying to force himself into a match with John Cena, which he probably would have won, and how he treated Austin Theory, I definitely can see him saying Randy's not ready, especially since Randy lost the belt in his first title defense, well, second maybe, and to Triple H and never won it back. I could definitely see Triple H whispering like, "He's not ready yet. He's not ready yet." I bet you that was fun, being Vince's son or grandson during the Attitude Era. It probably still would have been embarrassing because he was doing stuff like pissing himself on TV. But it's probably a lot more fun than him getting But I knew that was weird. It had to be a weird time. I guess there's no real good time to be born a McMahon. Especially not with Vince hanging around doing weird stuff. But seeing your grandparents on television doing a cuck angle, that's got to be crazy. That's crazy. That's a different type of growing up right there, brother. Didn't your granddad make out with Trish Stratus in front of your grandma on television? We're like, oh my God, yeah, that did happen actually. Imagine going to college with like one of these Vixen span like wrestling nerds. That's what I feel bad for them. But like mostly when it comes to the McMahon kids, I'd be like, okay, they got all this money and opportunity, they'd be all right. But then I think like there's a David Vixen span on that campus somewhere. Some basement dwelling IWC dork who is like, Declan McMahon is in my third hour. Like I can't imagine. And that asshole is watching you every second of the day, reporting on the dirt sheets like, he wore a red shirt today. Yeah, oh my God. He's smoking. Oh, This is definitely a different time. The two doinks are smoking, for God's sake. What was that about? What a cheap finish. And Crush is up running. 2 seconds later. That was trash. It was probably that was not one of Shawn Michaels' best matches. It's certainly not. It was Crush. It was terrible. The Japanese voice actor was having an affair. He struck her and forced her to get an abortion. Holy guacamole. That's sick. If he was in Connecticut, it would have been worse. I think, yeah, if he'd have been around the people he grew up with, it would have certainly been worse. But it still can't be good now seeing your granddad on the news, on the national news for really bad shit. If he was like in his hometown, it probably would have been awful. Like absolutely awful. All his friends would have been talking. I mean, he's probably, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. They still probably contacting him about it. But imagine going like high school every day, bro. Like college is not classes every day. And it's certainly not the same classes every day. So sometimes you might not see a motherfucker for a week, But high school, you see somebody every day, bro. Oh my God, I'd have been sick. And then they playing this shit in the media. I'd have been sick. There's only two ways to play it. Either you side against Granddad and you tell everybody, I'm a good boy. I agree with you. He's a sex trafficker. Or you like, yo, that's my granddad, fuck off. And the latter is certainly not going to make you any sense. That seems to be his mentality, which I respect. I 100% respect that. Paul Heyman got a hot daughter, though. I've never seen any of Paul Heyman's kids. Yeah, that is terrible. I'm pretty sure he still got a lot of hot girls because he's a McMahon. Because they know he got some money. Shit. Tons of girls. You better walk light, though. I can tell you that much. Because he got a lot of money, he better be careful. He better be very, very careful on these college campuses. He's a football player. Everybody knows his family is rich. He probably can't even pull a hit and quit at this point, brother. He might be like, him and his granddad sex trafficked me. I thought Paul Heyman's kids were like young. I didn't know he had like adult children. I thought he started having kids like late in life. Paul Heyman's grandson, he gonna put a Christmas tree up in October. And you're gonna open it, it's gonna be one giant IOU. You waited 3 months. IOU. So Paul must have like different sets of kids. Like he must have had. Did he have kids when he was younger? Then he had more kids when he got older. Because I remember when he had. I think he had his other kids. He was a little bit older. They were like. I saw videos of like an old man Paul holding like a baby. Or like she was like a kid. She wouldn't have been 20.
I'll tell you, the winner of this match.
He might have been pulling a Brian McKnight, where he has like a ex-wife with kids and current wife with kids. A lot of guys do it like that, though. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine pulling a Brady Bunch. Ooh. What was that? Paul Heyman's daughter?
One of these two men will be the first ever king of the ring.
So many matches on this show got gorilla presses in them. Because Brett's a little foot. He only got the 2? That's interesting. I truly believe, and I'm not going to hold you up, I truly do believe Vince McMahon has other kids. I believe he has outside kids. I do. I 100% believe Vince McMahon has outside children. And that's why when they started asking about all these lawsuits and all this money, I'm like, we don't know if some of these joints involve paternity suits. And I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of them do. Or he's paying for girls to get abortions or something like that. He's been fucking around for a long time. You can't tell me he ain't been bagging all these chicks and none of them got pregnant. There's a bigger payday for them to just keep the kid. So he probably like $7 million or something like that, and it's a yearly stipend that you can take care of your baby and then move on with your life. All you gotta do is shut up. I take that deal. But that sounds like some shit that's probably not gonna come out until after he's gone. He's probably got outside kids and all kind of shit.
Joe Morella there got a 2 count out of it.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right now, and I'm gonna tell you something. Even if the Hitman loses to the Beast of the East and Man Bigelow's the King of the Ring, I've got RESPECT for the Hitman. Realize what he's calling.
I think that if John Cena ended up with like an outside child, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. That would blow my mind. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody who's on television has outside kids. You know, when you have access to all these women, these kinds of things tend to occur. They tend to happen, especially if they're regular girls. You know, I mean, when you look at athletes like ball players and stuff, these chicks they become TV stars and Instagram models and everything. Look how Brett fights back. Fired up, get cut off. But I'm almost certain that if anybody back there got outside children, it's Vince. And that's the boys, I'm not so sure. But Vince, I'm almost certain he has an outside kid. Especially since he played into it on a storyline. I definitely believe he got outside kids. You'll probably never know. Just like people say, like Jay-Z got outside kids, and Michael Jackson got some. I'm like, man, you'll probably never know. But there's people out there who look just like Jay-Z for no reason. And it's questionable that this guy looks just like Jay-Z. And like, why? Why does he look like just like Jay-Z? You know, like, why is that actually? That's why the Kendrick Lamar diss was so powerful, because it's entirely possible for Drake to have outside kids that he denies that probably look just like him. That he, will never take a DNA test to prove whether he is or isn't. That's actually believable that Cena might be so traumatized by sick children that he don't want to have any of his own. But you can't tell me he was in there, boy, like a monk, not slinging cock. You know he was. So, when you slang cock, man, anything can happen. Damn, that's a hell of a suplex right there, brother. That's a hell of a suplex. Respect Bam Bam Bigelow's lineup too, brother. He's pretty good. He don't want him to give up so bad. You don't know what to do. Vince seemed to have different girlfriends all the time too, man. Like he just looked like a guy who fucked the money up. Like absolutely fucked the money up. But it begs the question, why did he break it off with Janelle Grant when Linda found out? Like, where was Linda the whole time Vince was in Connecticut banging this chick? Where was she? What the hell was she doing? Who the hell is she banging? Oh, damn, that damn thing came loose and tore that woman's knees up. That poor baby, look at her knees. Ankle, he tore everything up in her legs. That barricade came loose. That big son bitch came through there. She started Bret Hart selling that knee like like Peter Griffin. Wait a minute, that's why he did that? That's why, cause I remember the scene on him on Howard Stern talking about banging fat chicks, and he was very respectable about it and everything. But I didn't know why he did that. I thought he just did it because he could. You know, it was it's very weird. Man. I don't think Cena would hide a kid if he had it one. Oh shit. Man, they really stacked the deck against Brett, didn't they? Bam Bam got a bye. Brett got 3 injuries running, 3 injury storylines running. Uh, he just got hit with a chair. Man. They're telling the hell out of this story with Brett. Damn, that's a hell of a body slam. No, of course not. He's good. Oh, that was a bet? No. That's crazy. Whoa. What's that about? Wait, what is Earl Hebner talking about here? What, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's happening? Oh, no. No, no, no. No, that's weird. Brock telling Mustafa Ali to get a life didn't age well. What you mean? It aged fantastically. He told him to fuck off, and then he did. Because Mustafa Ali, I mean, what is he doing these days? He's wrestling in TNA, for God's sake. It worked out great for him. He gave him some good advice. Seeing Al and Danny having children at 80, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince got some kids. Oh my God. De Niro having black kids too. Like, that's crazy. He having like little black kids. Like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? What kind of life is he living? I didn't like that versus decision stuff right there. Brock told him to get a life because he was whining about something as Brock was marching through. And Ali is always complaining about something or other, and Brock told him to get a life. That was great. I think he was still salty about that Money in the Bank thing. And there are still people complaining about that shit. I just saw it the other day. Oh, look at what Vince did. It could have been a perfect time for Ali. Like, are you serious? Nobody in their right mind wanted Littlefoot Ali to be a champion anywhere in WWE. He could have been a great Intercontinental champion, I guess. But he was certainly not going to be the world champion. I don't believe it. Everybody's like, he was supposed to wrestle Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Like, yeah, that was obvious because they brought him up with the purpose of him beating Daniel Bryan, and he's supposed to wrestle him at WrestleMania. And that was what Bryan wanted. But you think that he was going to get more over than Kofi, you can forget it. Yeah, Booker T had a older kid too. Yep. Man, I think Vince needs to be smarter. Like, I think that the chick being like 38 or whatever is like right in his lane. He's 70. What the hell he's gonna do like a 25-year-old? That's crazy. But she's 38. Yeah, man, go for it. You know, he was in his early 70s. He doing good to hit a girl at just like 40. You know, that's not bad. Oh yeah, he'd have been a great light heavyweight champion. What a fantastic light heavyweight champion Ali could have been. There's no way in the hell he should have been a world champion, man. Not in the WWE I grew up watching. But you see all these pimply face Dixonites, they running around here like, oh, he could have been the world champion. Like, what? Because Daniel Bryan had some stroke and wanted him to be a top contender? Bro, I think Vince would have woke up from that nightmare pretty quick. He probably would have gave him the match at WrestleMania. He probably wouldn't have put him over, though. Because he never put him over at any other point in time. He had that really great match with Randy Orton, and Vince just threw it into the bin. Like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? I'm pretty sure nobody in their right mind even put the belt on Ali on the video game, for God's sake. Let alone wanting Vince to put the belt on him in the real world. It's not enough to be a good wrestler, man. You got to be a star. Ali's just not. He just doesn't have that. It's not in his DNA. Whoa, what was that? He raked the eyes? The kids are enthralled in this. I'm telling you, I'm looking at them. They're all in. He said, "You hope Bam Bam fits in the chair." Yeah, right. Very simple offense too. Nothing too flashy. Simple on both sides. Look at Brett's cheating though, because this is the eye rake. Especially after that triple threat at Fastlane with Kevin Owens, people wanted Ali as WWE champion. Too small. Yeah, he's a little foot. I mean, what is this? What's wrong with this? What's up with this guy, man? You know, he might be able to talk, but he's a little foot with no personality. I'm trying to convince Vince McMahon he's a talker. I agree. Vince rolled his eyes at this shit. Like, okay, flippy guy, go talk your heart out. And you talking means you can complain a lot, which is what he did. He complained a lot. Whoa, that was a hell of a. Oh, the slingshot. Oh, that was nice. His body, savage. What? Man, Brett's good. What's a dream meetup? Vince McMahon and Easy or Vince McMahon and Tupac? I think Vince would have offended Tupac within 10, 20 minutes. Easy E was a little bit more easy going, I guess you could say. Tupac came across as being very high strung. Vince would have rubbed him the wrong way because he would have mocked him a little bit. Oh, do I think Styles would have made it in the main roster if he'd have debuted 10 years or maybe 5 years? No, because 10 years earlier, he'd have been right in the middle of Cena's run. They definitely wouldn't have did anything with him at that point. He's too little. 5 years later, it'd have been 2011, maybe, because they was willing to do Punk. They was willing to do Danielson. So maybe in 2011, they probably would have treated AJ Styles better. But I think he came in at a perfect time. What a great finish that was. Even though it wasn't fast, it came across like it was a real struggle. Damn, he left her. He jumped in the ring, bruh. Who cries more, Ali or Dax? Oh my God, Dax. Absolutely. Ali stopped crying when he got his release. His crying kind of stopped. Dax, though, he finds new reasons to cry. He was just crying the other day about Cash case getting dropped. My best friend. You should give a round of applause for my best friend. He ain't going to jail. Butt pound in jail. Yeah, nah, he's not going to butt pound in jail. Damn it. Dax, he's gonna be all right. He's gonna be okay. Look at that road, brother. Not the first. He's more like the fourth. But Randy Savage don't know. He don't care. He was there for some of that stuff. He was one of the kings of the ring, for God's sake. You killing me, Savage. Oh, look at that guy. Yikes. Some of the female wrestlers are delusional. Yesterday on the bump, Natty said she wants a main event, and people on X was cooking her. She deserves it. Why in the world would anybody believe Natalya could be a main event anywhere? Jerry Lawler crashing the party immediately was great.
For the integrity to even get in the tournament for the King of the Ring. Where were you when this thing started?
Well, he came in at the end. I like that they're playing off of this because this plays off of what happened where Harley Race, where Jerry Lawler got the Harley Race gimmick killed. So this is Vince getting a little bit of a revenge, but he's playing off of it a little bit too. I love this feud because it's fun. Jerry Lawler is really good, and he works well with Brett. I don't know why they got. Well, I think Lawler was hurt. I don't understand why Doink was involved, but they seem to be feuding for the next 2 years after this. And Jerry Lawler is in his 40s at this point. He's well past his prime, but this is great. He but hit him with the. This is how you end the show, with Brett getting decimated by Jerry the King Lawler. And nobody's going to do anything. This is what I mean by instant impact. They put Brett over, but they had a feud for him immediately. Yeah, he did call him Burger King. He did kind of ask for it. It is terrible. He kicked him down the steps. Oh, this is tremendous. All right, so that was King of the Ring 1993. Very, very solid show. Brett all over that joint was tremendous in all his different matches. All very good. Great angle to close the show. They didn't even let Brett take a breath, really. They smothered him in heels. Nowadays, they probably would have had Jerry Lawler attack him on Raw, and it still would have been fine. But him doing it immediately made it even more dastardly because he literally waited till the tournament was over and took umbrage immediately with this whole King of the Ring thing. So, all right, y'all, it's hot. I gotta turn my air conditioner back on. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. Like, share, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm pretty sure most everybody here is already subscribed. And thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later.